The sports car sparkled under the glow of the overhead lights in the garage. Against its gleams stood two figures, mother and son, shadows soaked in entitlement and self-importance. Their power came from fear, not respect. They thought threats and fake authority could take what wasn't theirs. They were wrong, because truth doesn't flinch, and neither do I. I'm Daniel Cole, 52 years old, a retired Marine with over 2 decades of service. I settled in Pine Heights in 2019, a quiet neighborhood outside Denver, finally trading deployments for my garden, photography, and a bit of peace. That peace didn't last. Cynthia Reardon, 46, single mother and self-declared queen of the Pine Heights Home Council, had other plans. As the council president and a bookkeeper for the realty firm that oversaw the neighborhood, she used her title to micromanage everything. Mailbox shapes, porch lights, even how long your trash bins could sit curbside. She didn't like my car. Or, rather, she didn't like that someone like me owned one. The trouble started small. A Tuesday email popped up in my inbox. Mr. Cole, per our guidelines, your vehicle has remained outside for over 72 hours. This is a direct violation of Section 3.9. Kindly move it to avoid penalties. I replied respectfully. My driveway was private property and fully within bounds. An hour later, a second message. Fine increased to $500 due to noncompliance and inappropriate tone. I knew then this wasn't a misunderstanding. I began documenting everything. Emails, messages, photos. I learned in the Marines, always prepare. The following week, Cynthia held a so-called emergency council meeting. She emailed the entire neighborhood. Immediate action required. Unregulated luxury vehicles threaten our community's integrity. Only 5 homes out of over 30 even showed up. But with that tiny group, she passed a new rule. Vehicles worth over $80,000 weren't allowed to be parked outside. From the back row, I watch her motion toward a blown-up printout of my car. We're not a luxury showcase. Flashy cars threaten our values. The room was half empty. Her audience just nodded to avoid confrontation. I stayed quiet, but kept recording. The next week, things escalated again. 2 uniformed officers showed up at my door while Cynthia stood at the curb, arms crossed, and smiling like she'd already won. Sir, we had a report of unauthorized vehicles. One said apologetically. I handed over my paperwork, registration, title, insurance. You're all clear. Nice ride, by the way, one officer said as he turned to leave. But Cynthia wasn't done. She stomped up to my porch. This isn't over, Daniel, she barked. You don't get to play rich in my neighborhood. I make the rules here, not some washed-up soldier clinging to a trophy car. That evening, her post in the neighborhood app was titled, Security Alert, Dangerous Displays of Wealth. She claimed cars like mine made the community a target, that my presence was inviting crime. Her tone was dramatic. Some neighbors backed her. Others asked why she was picking a fight over a parked car. It didn't stop there. Late one night, I saw our teenage son, Eric, and 2 of his buddies filming my car in the driveway. One was live streaming. My mom says this car is probably stolen. No way that guy paid for it legit, he said to the camera. I stepped outside. You kids need to leave. Now. Eric laughed, still recording. We're investigating. Citizens inspection. Mom's council president, so we've got authority. Try trespassing next time. You'll see real authority, I said, phone in hand, already dialing the police. They bolted before the squad car showed up, but they didn't know I'd installed high-end security cameras the week before. Next, I got a letter, official-looking, full of legal terms from Reardon Legal Services. They claimed I owed $9,500 in damages to the neighborhood for visual blight and brand depreciation. That same day, my insurance called. Cynthia had filed a fraud report, alleging my car was possibly stolen. But the final insult came when she marched up my driveway the next weekend, Eric filming again, and declared, loud enough for half the neighborhood to hear, I'm confiscating your car for auction. You've damaged our community's reputation long enough. You're way out of line, I said. This is private property. Get off it. She waved fake legal papers. You're a threat. I have the power to remove threats. That was it. I called my old friend Melissa Yates, a former JAG officer turned property rights attorney. "You're sitting on a legal jackpot," she told me, going through the mountain of documents I collected. "She's committed fraud, defamation, harassment, and misappropriation." We started digging. Cynthia had been passing HOA rules without quorum. Worse, she'd borrowed $13,000 from the community fund to pay personal debts. We got bank statements, meeting records, everything. Then came the bombshell. My family still technically owned the land Pine Heights was built on. My grandfather had purchased the tract in the 80s. The property management firm just contracted caretakers. The HOA had no actual governing power over me. Cynthia had never bothered to check the ownership records. Then Tom, her ex-husband, called. I couldn't sit by any longer. "I've seen what she's done to you." She pulled the same control tricks during our marriage. "Made my life hell," he said. He gave me old messages, council documents, and even proof Cynthia had retaliated against another neighbor over a flower pot. One of my buddies from the Marines, now working in juvenile services, checked Eric's background. 2 sealed juvie cases for vandalism. His online smear campaign added cyber harassment to the charges. We were ready. Melissa prepared lawsuits against Cynthia for defamation, harassment, and misappropriation, against Eric for trespassing and cyberbullying. We called a community meeting. The place was packed. Cynthia opened with a grand speech about community values. She pointed at me. "This man thinks he's above the rules." I stood. "Actually, I own this land. My family has held the deed for over 30 years. The HOA has no legal authority here." Melissa queued up a slideshow. Missing funds, fake violations, security footage of Eric and Cynthia confronting me, and even proof of discrimination against Spanish-speaking neighbors. The crowd was stunned. Neighbors shared their own stories. How Cynthia fined them for patriotic flags, for holiday lights, for talking in their own language. Then Tom stood up. "Everything you've heard is true. She's used every bit of power to bully, manipulate, and intimidate." By the end of the night, Cynthia was handcuffed and escorted out. Eric followed, charged with cyber misconduct. 3 months later, she was fined, ordered to repay the community, and banned from any board role for 7 years. Eric did community service, attended counseling, and, shockingly, turned his life around. He visits often now, works with rescue animals, and even helps out in my woodshop. We formed a new council. Fair, democratic, and transparent. We created a charter to protect resident rights and ensure no one could abuse their position again. My once controversial car, now the neighborhood mascot. Kids wash it every Saturday. We chat, swap stories, and build real community, one that welcomes, respects, and protects everyone equally. Because it was never about the car. It was about standing up when someone tries to rule through fear, and proving that the strongest communities are built not on control, but on respect, service, and truth.